Hi, Amy from Adventure Box here, back with not a tutorial. No, instead I'm here to educate you a little bit. No wait, come back! I promise this will be kept short and interesting. In my editing a world tutorial, I briefly touched upon something called performance. You can also check your performance here. I didn't spend much time on it, the video would go on forever, but I figure that if you're new to playing games overall, or if you're not that into the techie side of it, it couldn't hurt to let you know what exactly game performance is. Like, what are these numbers in green, yellow or red sticks? Well, let's find out together. When people talk performance when talking about games, they usually don't mean something like putting on a show or how skilled somebody is at games. Machinima is a performance, but that's not the point here. They tend to mean how well a game runs. How many times is the image you're looking at updated in order to, for example, simulate movement or motion? Game performance is measured in frames per second, or FPS for short. Don't confuse it with the first-person shooter genre, which is also shortened to FPS. Though if somebody says something like 30 FPS, they probably don't mean the number of shooter games they've played. Well, that depends on the person, I suppose. Anyway, frames per second is just what it sounds like. How many frames of change are there per second? It's also known as the game's frame rate. The higher the frame rate is, the smoother the performance is. Animation works in the same way, actually. Games usually run between 30 and 60 frames per second, with some games nowadays being able to reach a frame rate as high as 144. Game performance tends to depend on several things, such as the hardware the game is made for, how powerful the hardware's central processing unit and graphics card is, your internet connection, your in-game graphics settings, the amount of random access memory on the hardware, and the optimization of the game's code for the graphics. The last point is on the developer, not you though. On average, PC games tend to be able to achieve a higher frame rate, though consoles have slowly started to catch up as of late. However, if you ask me, unless you play games online a lot where the performance can be crucial for a player, since a player with a better computer tends to have an advantage over a player with a not as good computer, I'd recommend not obsessing over the numbers too much if you just like to play casually. And even if you play a lot of competitive online games, I wouldn't worry too much about it outside of that. Of course there's a noticeable difference between 30 and 60, but there are lots of good games that run on 30 frames per second, so don't let the frame rate get in the way of your enjoyment of a game. Unless it dips below 30, which becomes very stuttery and slow to respond. Ever played a game with a single-digit frame rate? It's not fun. Though that's just my stance on it, some people on the internet feel a bit more strongly about this than me, so discussions can get heated. As in the discussions I want to do, I suppose. Don't have arguments on the internet, kids. Anyway, the point is, if you find your frame rate getting worse while playing, one thing you could do is go into the options menu and adjust your in-game graphics settings. Perhaps your computer isn't powerful enough to have all of the fancy effects turned on? Try to turn them off, or adjust the draw distance, resolution, or field of view, and see if it improves. By the way, apparently the human eye can detect up to 1000 frames per second. That becomes a bit hard to tell the difference after about 150, so there isn't much point in aiming for a frame rate that high. Okay, that just about covers it, I think. For further questions, please leave a comment on this video, send us an email or join our Discord server. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time!